You're at 109 right now.
When the $500,000 Lincoln Theater opened on Central Avenue at 23rd Street in 1927, resplendent with Moorish Revival architecture, a 25-foot wide marquee, a big stage, an orchestra pit, and seating for 2,100, it garnered the nickname West Coast Apollo, because the Lincoln presented many of the same stellar acts that graced New York's famed Apollo Theater. Throughout its 35-year run, the Lincoln offered motion pictures, stage shows, talent shows, and vaudeville acts. It was among the West Coast's first theaters for African Americans who were barred from downtown Los Angeles venues or relegated to colored-only seating. Nearly every performer of note appeared there: Count Basie, Lionel Hampton, Duke Ellington, Bill Bojangles Robinson, Nat King Cole, Billie Holiday, Fats Domino, Sammy Davis Jr., and B.B. King. In 1962, the First Jurisdiction Church of God in Christ bought the theater. Bishop Samuel M. Crouch operated it as Crouch Temple, a Pentecostal church in the 1970s. The Nation of Islam then used it as a mosque. A succession of churches have occupied the site since the early 1980s, the most recent being the Iglesia de Jesucristo Juda, which holds Spanish-language services featuring live bands and praise music. The 27th Street Bakery was founded by Harry Patterson and his wife. The bakery was converted into a specialty bakery in 1956, where they manufacture homemade sweet potato pies, fruit pies, and a variety of cakes. Harry taught his children and grandchildren to resist the temptation of cutting corners, and that the result would be products that people would drive long distances to buy and would tell all of their friends about. Today, the 27th Street Bakery is an East Side landmark and has grown into the largest manufacturer of sweet potato pies on the West Coast. Second Baptist Church is among the most influential and oldest of the city's African American faith institutions. The church's history has been steeped in both spirituality and activism, particularly with regard to civil rights. Established in 1885 in a room over a stable in downtown Los Angeles, the congregation grew as migration in the early 20th century packed the pews with African Americans from Louisiana, Texas, and Arkansas. Paul Revere Williams, an African-American architect, and Norman Foote Marsh designed the building, the church's third home. The gold-toned brick, Romanesque revival structure, which opened in January 1926, featured seating for more than 2,000 congregants. It was Williams's first major public commission and one of the few from the Black community. The founders of Angela's Funeral Home were prominent men well established in the African American community who chose architect Paul Revere Williams to design the new mortuary. Williams was the first African American member of the American Institute of Architects in Southern California. Louis George L.G. Robinson, Lorenzo Baldwin, and John L. Hill Sr. urged Williams to create a funeral home that would serve the needs of the neighborhood's African American middle class. In A Man in Our Community, a 1937 biography of Robinson, author Baxter S. Scruggs wrote of the visionary executives. These men pledged themselves to the task of erecting the most beautifully appointed mortuary in the city, irrespective of racial classification. Indeed, they became known as morticians of distinction. The 1934 two-story landmark blends Spanish colonial, Art Deco, and Georgian Revival elements. In the 1960s, Angelus moved to another Paul Revere Williams designed building on Crenshaw Boulevard, where it still operates as a family business today. The luxurious Somerville Hotel opened in the summer of 1928, just in time to serve as host to delegates of the first West Coast Convention of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, NAACP. Jamaica-born John Somerville and his wife Veda built the hotel. The couple were the first black graduates of the University of Southern California School of Dentistry and involved community members and activists. Veda was also the first licensed black female dentist in the state. After the 1929 stock market crash, the Somervilles sold the property to local businessman and lawyer Lucius Lomax Sr., who renamed the hotel after Paul Laurence Dunbar, an African-American poet, playwright, and novelist. The Dunbar proved a hospitable haven for African Americans, including boxing champ Joe Louis, poet Langston Hughes, countless Pullman porters, and Thurgood Marshall, an attorney for the NAACP and later an Associate Justice of the U.S. Supreme Court. It catered to stars like Ella Fitzgerald, Lena Horne, Count Basie, Fats Waller, Sarah Vaughan, Louis Armstrong, Duke Ellington, Cab Calloway, Billie Holiday, Bill Robinson, and other guests who could afford its comforts at a time when most fine hotels and restaurants declined to serve them. Lomax sold the hotel in 1934 to Father Divine, founder of the International Peace Mission movement. In 1936, former Chicago businessman James Jimmy Nelson and his wife took ownership and steered the Dunbar through influential decades. Founded in 1925, Golden State Mutual Life Insurance Company made history as one of the first African-American owned insurance companies established in the American West and was central in the development of black-owned businesses throughout the U.S. In 1928, to accommodate its growing workforce and clientele, the firm secured a lot and commissioned the building that still stands at 4261 Central Avenue. Its architect was James Homer Garrett, an African-American, then in the early years of what would be a long, successful career. Garrett was the second African-American to be admitted to the American Institute of Architects in Southern California after Paul Revere Williams. He mentored many young African-American architects, including Clyde Henry Grimes, who designed Central Avenue's Colonel Leon H. Washington Jr. Post Office. By 1945, Golden State was the largest black-owned business of any type west of the Mississippi River, and the nation's seventh largest African-American owned insurance company. In 1949, the firm moved its headquarters to a Paul Revere Williams designed building at the corner of Adams Boulevard and Western Avenue, which still stands.
October 9th. That's where it starts.
You see, it's the same old thing.